I'm Rob Hart, and this is my writer's dossier.
Woo!
No writers were harmed in the production of this podcast.
So, 3 Men and a Baby. June
3 hitmen
16th.
and a baby.
Three what?
3 hitmen and a baby.
Oh! 3
No, you
hitmen
know
and
what
a
it
ba-
is? I confuse it with the movie title all the time too. So that's where we're at.
But the cover just screams too. 3 Hitmen and a Baby, June 16th from Putnam. Out now, folks. Get this book from my pal Rob Hart. Totally cool guy. How much input did you have on the cover?
Quite a bit. So I will say my cover designer is a guy named Tal Goretsky, just unbelievably talented. And it was interesting that, the first 2 books in the Assassin series, Assassins Anonymous and the Medusa Protocol, they had a very strong series look for it, with like a somewhat like mundane item with a knife stuck through it, which I just loved.
Yeah.
And for the 3rd cover, they were kind of like trying something new. They were trying a different direction kind of thing. And it was cool, but I was just so in love with that series look. So we went back and forth a little bit, and we ended up where we're at now. And I couldn't be happier. I love this. This whole series look is just amazing.
Well, you and your cover guy made something that I can't stand look awesome. And that's the traditional little baby on board sign. Those were cool for like 5 minutes when they came out in like 99. The thing about this, folks, and if you're watching on YouTube, look right now, this cover, the baby on board sign, the hand-drawn characters at the bottom. And obviously, folks, no spoiler alerts here. 3 Hitmen and a Baby, there's a baby. And there's a little baby drawn on the cover. And she's cute as a button. And the 3 hitmen, I see a sword. I see a knife. I see a crossbow. They are so cool. Tell me you had something to do with that.
No, that was all them. They put that together. But so I'll tell you this, and this is really funny. So we are very committed now to this, like, sticking a knife through something story, right?
Yes.
So I literally just had this conversation with my editor. So the 4th book is in. She's reading it. She's editing it. It's called City of Killers, and it's set in Bangkok. Because I went to Thailand on my honeymoon and I fell in love with it. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna set a book here, in part because I hope they invite me back, and in part because now I could just write off my honeymoon. But
Yes.
the question came up of what do we do for the cover? I'm like, oh man, this is a tough one, because this is a country where almost all of their like renowned and famous iconography is rooted in like Buddhism and spirituality. And I'm like, there's not a lot of stuff that we can stick a knife through and be respectful. So I came up. I have a couple of ideas, but I trust Tal. I'll see what he comes up with. But so it was the first time that our little like this kind of like linking system just became a bit of a challenge.
Well, like you said, you mentioned earlier, the whole series, and the folks, this is, we're talking to Rob Hart. He's the Rob Hart. The Assassins Anonymous series, this is book 3. The first one had this super cool dagger going through a cup, and then a dagger on the Medusa Protocol, and then this one. Again, the theming is cool, and the coolest thing, the best thing about these books is that you back it up. I mean, covers are one thing, flashy editor names and all the blurbs from all the heavy hitters are great, but if you can't back it up in between the covers like Rob Hart does, all you have is the covers. Tell us a little bit about this book, and then we want to talk a little bit about you for the 4 people out there listening who don't know who Rob Hart is. So tell us about 3 Hitmen and the Baby. And we've talked about this a little bit in the past. I mean, this is a cool story.
Well, the overall premise of the series is that it's a bunch of hitmen who are in a 12-step recovery program for killers because they don't want to kill people anymore. And
Let's just start right there. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so in 3 Hitmen and a Baby, you've got, there's a character named Valencia who's got a daughter, Lucia. And Lucy is a toddler. She's like, around 2 or 3 years old. And Valencia realizes like, oh no, I have to go to LA to do this family thing. But I don't know what to do with Lucia. And so Mark and Astrid and Booker, 3 members of the group, are like, well, leave her with us. We're 3 of the most capable people on the planet. Like we can take care of a baby. And as it turns out, they are not suited to taking care of a baby.
Nice.
And it's basically, and I'll give away a little bit of the inciting incident. It's that she pops a fever, And at this point, she's with Booker and Astrid, and they're like, "Oh, we need to take her to urgent care because it's a really like when a baby spikes like a really high fever, it's scary." And they were like, "We're going to go to urgent care. We're going to get someone to look at her. It's the middle of the night." And then they realized, like, "Oh, we don't actually know Valencia's real name because this is an anonymous program. We don't know her last name. We don't know Lucia's last name. We don't know anything about this baby, and we can't get in contact with her mom. And we have assumed identities. And so the people who are working at the urgent care are rightfully like, this is
Alarmed.
weird. We need to involve the police just for this child's safety." So of course, at that point, things like spiral completely out of control. And at the same time, Mark is something from Mark's past comes back, and so he's currently dealing with that. So then you've got these two stories where they're trying to save each other and save themselves and protect this kid until Valencia comes home. And I had told myself that after the first two books, so the first two books are that they get into that they're very funny, that they could be very light at times, but they deal with some heavy subject matter. And so for the third one, I'm like, I wanna reward the people who have stuck with this series. I'm gonna write a romp. Like this is just gonna be fun and silly. And then halfway through, I was like, oh no, this is getting really heavy again. So but I'm really excited for people to read this one. I really enjoyed writing it. It was because it's the first two books are very like jet setty. They're set in like different countries,
Yeah.
and this one is completely set in New York. And I love writing about New York. I was born and raised in New York, so it's like it's always nice to write about my version of the city.
So there seems to be a pattern here. What's next for Rob Hart? Are we doing cozies?
I
Come on,
mean,
man.
look. I would do a cozy if I'll tell you what, man. Like I'm about to like later this week get back into editing a middle grade fantasy book. Because I wanted to write a book for my daughter, and
Yes.
I wrote it. My agent read it. A bunch of people at his agency read it, and they liked it. But it doesn't need open heart surgery, but it doesn't need an outpatient procedure like outpatient procedure either. It needs some work because
Needs
it's
some
a
work.
completely different tone and style. So we'll get there, but I'm definitely getting to a point where I'm trying to spread my wings a little bit.
Well, you are, and it's a perfect transition because I had that on my hit list of things I wanted you to tell people about was branching out. Right now, the industry is it's always in flux, but it seems like the last 5 years has been super crazy. And you've had some really interesting experiences too with publishers and agents and publicists and everything. How important is the notion of branching out while still coming across as an author who's a subject matter expert in some area? I mean, you have kids, so there's a kid in this book. Guys, yeah, Rob Hart can talk about kids because he's got them. He's not an assassin, but that's okay. He's got a great imagination and writes really well. So what about writers who might be stuck in a series or transitioning out of a series into something else? What about this genre hopping? How do you think it's gonna work out, and do you think other people should consider it?
I mean, I only think you should consider it if you feel called to it. Like I've always wanted to, swim in different rivers and try different things. That's just who I am. I've got a nonfiction proposal that's going to be going out soon too. It's just that's how I keep myself entertained. But I'll tell you, I didn't hear this from the man himself, but from a mutual friend. Someone asked Lee Childs once, well, why don't you try something else besides Jack Reacher? And he was like, why? And
It
like,
works.
yeah, it works. Like, good for him. If that's what he wants to do, that's what he should do. It's like, follow your bliss, man. My bliss is what can I do to challenge myself? What can I do to try something different? I mean, if Assassins Anonymous was as big as Reacher, like probably that would be the only thing I was doing. Um, all of that said too, though, there are sometimes challenges, I think, because I started out doing the Ash McKenna books, which were like little like punk rock amateur PI books. Then I moved over to like Warehouse and Paradox Hotel, which were like big
Yes.
speculative fiction books. And
Yes.
then kind of came back to like the straight thriller genre. So I think sometimes I like that it's hard to peg me down, but I think sometimes people struggle to peg me down, or I sometimes feel like, when I'm going to promote something like with the Paradox Hotel being a good example, that was a murder mystery time travel story. So I sometimes worried, like, was I not crime enough for the crime guys and not sci-fi enough for the sci-fi guys? Like,
Yeah.
it's because then you feel like you might be leaving something on the table. So but I don't know. I don't know. Publishing is weird, and anyone who says that they understand publishing is full of shit. Honestly, like no one understands how any of this works. It's all nonsense. Because if anyone knew how publishing worked, every book would be a bestseller, but it's
Yep.
not. You know.
No, no, I think you nailed that right. And the spirit of that answer is do what you're called to. Follow
Yeah.
your heart. Don't follow the market.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. It's like if I decide today, like I mean, we'll use romantasy as an example. Like romantasy is kind of like falling out of favor. I think because I've spoken to some agents and some editors who said like they've hit their peak on that. Like it's that they've got too many. There's too many pitches for it, whatever. But say romantasy was like the big thing right now, and I decided I'm going to write a romantasy. How long is it going to take me? It's going to take me. I write fast. I write, probably faster than most. I could probably write the book in like 4 to 6 months, right? That doesn't mean it's going to be any good. That doesn't mean it's going to sell. And even then, in that 4 to 6 months, the industry could shift, which we are seeing that shift now. And that's why I tell people don't write to trends because a trend is going to be over by the time the book is done. So unless you're selling it on like spec, on like a pitch or something. But even then, it's like, I don't know. I'm not really attracted to this idea of like I have to write in this genre because it's popular. Like I'm
Of
attracted
course.
to the idea of I want to write this thing because it's interesting and it's going to keep me engaged.
Agreed. You tell a lot of people a lot of things about writing. You go to conferences, you sit on panels, you talk to people. You are also a personal freelance editor, so you give a lot of advice. I think you come at it from a really good perspective because of the experiences that you have writing in different genres and writing over a long period of time. Tell us a little bit about what it's like for you as a freelance editor to get an editorial letter back from your editor at Putnam or whoever you're writing for.
I
Folks, if
mean,
you're
look,
watching on YouTube right now, you just saw a look on Rob Hart's face.
yeah. No, look, I have the same reaction everyone has, which is I get the editorial letter and I'm like, this is all bullshit. This is all wrong. I did it perfect the first time. Uh, No, I have my little moments of like there are things that I'm reading and I'm like I agree with this, I don't agree with this, okay. And then the more that I read it and the more that it sinks in, I'm like no, this is right. And then I go back and I fight my war, which is that there might be one or two things that I'm like, hey, I'm really passionate about this, but I also understand editors are editors for a reason. It's because they're generally good at what they do and they want to make your book better. There's this weird I see a lot of myth making on social media, like people who have struggled to get over the hump of like getting an agent and getting an editor, and they start, kind of like demonizing the process. And they're like, well, an agent just takes your money and doesn't do anything for you, and an editor just takes your book and takes your personality of it and rewrites it for you. And I don't find any of that to be true. I think I've never had an editor who was trying to make my book worse. They were trying to make it better, and 10 times out of 10 they have. And there have been times that we've had disagreements and, there have been times that, my editor was right and there were times that I was right. But, it's just, you gotta, I feel like I've developed a bit of a callus in dealing with it at this point, but it's never initially, you're always going to feel that initial, like defensiveness and that's okay.
Folks, we're on with the Rob Hart, friend of the Dossier. Free Hitman and a Baby comes out June 16th from Putnam. Just get it today. Um, I like asking you questions and I like talking to you offline because I know I'm not getting any kind of coded bullshit. So I'm going to jump into a category of a topic here that I think you're going to have a strong opinion on. It's
Ooh.
AI. AI.
Oh,
See, I know. Here it is. So let me just give you a little bit of context. Recently, there's a guy. His name's Eric Schmidt. Is the former CEO of Google. Spoke at the commencement at University of Arizona recently. And when he got to the topic of AI in front of a group of graduates, telling them about the future, they started booing because there's a growing sentiment among new college graduates that AI is bad and AI is bad for the future. And I don't know, maybe if in certain degrees, absolutely. But there's a strong undercurrent about the AI topic in writing. Where do you fall on it?
so, oh man, how much am I allowed to use
We're
profanity on this show?
profanity is wide open, and this is a commute style length podcast. So concentrate all those swear words.
Here, okay, I'll say this. I'll say this. I don't take it seriously. I don't, and anyone who uses it, I don't take seriously. They're because you wanna be an artist without making art, and that's just you could do that. You could do that if you want, every experience I've had, like, every time I see someone share, like, a video online of, like, "Hollywood is doomed. Look at this amazing video that, like, whatever stupid AI of the moment made." It always looks like garbage. It always it's disgusting, and there's no storytelling. You can tell that it's not real. You can tell the act like, there was one where it was, like, Brad Pitt fighting Tom Cruise. You can tell that neither of them were real, like, and it's an uncanny valley thing. It's like our brain understands these aren't real people. And so I just I wrote a big piece for Writer's Digest about it, and I've gotten into plenty of big rants about it, and I'm kind of getting to the point where I almost want to remove myself from the conversation because it's like, it doesn't matter. I do not believe, like, maybe some books will get past, the filters that have been that have been AI generated or whatever. Cool. No, if that's what you want to do, do that. I'm going to be over here making my own stuff. But I think the best thing I heard, I'm not going to take credit for it. Someone else said it, but it was someone online who said, "I was never convinced of the existence of the human soul until I saw artwork generated by AI." And I think that's completely true. It's like, yeah, yeah, that kind of nails it. It's like, not I mean, not to mention the environmental impact, that it's being designed to destroy the labor class, that it is frequently inaccurate. So you may as well just do the work initially without because you just have to do it twice to, like, fact check it. It's soulless, and it's I did see something online, I think this morning, in reference to what you were talking about and how my generation is increasingly rejecting it for a variety of reasons, and it makes me happy because, again, there's some good applications in the science field, like with data, but art's not data.
I love it, man. That part of that's going into a clip. You nailed it. Hey, last big question here. You also do, in addition to what I'll call genre wandering, you do collaborations
I
with
do.
other writers, and I think that's great. And you help out a lot of other writers through your editing services, like I talked about. Folks, go to robwhart.com and also check out a Substack. All this will be in the show notes for everybody. But with relation to collaborations, you did something with Jeff Rake recently. Man, you are one of the busiest guys I know, and I talk to a lot of them. You even did a short story for me for my epic duplicity right over here behind my shoulder. You don't say no, and it's amazing. Tell us about collaborations, where you think that might be headed. I see more and more collaborations, like, John Land is out there doing stuff with Jeff Ayers, and there's just a lot. I mean, Ward Larson, Brad Thor, so many collaborators. Is this beginning to be more of a thing, or are you going to continue to do that?
Yeah, yeah. I think in part it's a matter of survival. I mean, I'm a full-time writer, so I'm constantly trying to have something in the hopper because, I want to eat. I want to send my daughter to a good college. But at the same time, it's fun to jam with someone else and stretch a different set of muscles, and you're learning from each other, and you're having fun, and you're pushing each other. Working with Jeff, who created the TV show Manifest, he is a brilliant storyteller, and we spoke different languages because he was a TV guy, I'm a novel guy. It was great having that experience. I'm currently talking to Krista Faust about something. Like me and Krista are old friends, and something popped into my head the other day, and I texted her. I'm like, "Is this a thing?" And she just writes back in all text, like, all caps, enthusiastic consent. And then, like, we got on the phone to talk about it. But but yeah, it's just fun. It's fun. It's like, and again, I like to be busy. It's like I don't do well when I'm sitting around and not working on something. I start to, like, I think I hit a little gap like a week ago where I had finished a big project. I was like, I'm going to give myself time before I jump into something else. I'm going to get, like, I just need some decompressed time because I feel like I've been working nonstop. Going to give myself like a week. And after like 3 days, I'm like, nah, I'm getting back to work. Like, I can't just sit around watching TV all day.
Well, we're glad that you're getting back to work. Folks, it's Three Hitmen and a Baby. Get it now. And it's Rob W. Hart, HART.com. That's where you want to go. Sign up for his Substack and follow him on social media. What's the preferred social media venue that you use?
Probably Instagram,
Instagram.
where I'm Rob W Hart one, and I dabble on Blue Sky and some of the others. No Twitter though, because that's a Nazi cesspool now.
Instagram for Rob W. Hart 1. And dude, thanks so much for joining the Writer's Dossier. You are awesome. And
Thank you
looking
for having
forward
me.
to this book and so much more. Absolutely. All right. That's it. Thanks, everybody.
The Dossier Podcast is a production of The Idea Academy.